Hello guys, and welcome to another networking lab tutorial. In this tutorial we're going to see some very specific tasks regarding to the inter-VLAN routing using routing on a stick, some ACLs and some special configuration on the switch called the switch port security. So let's get started. Our first task in this laboratory begins with get connectivity between devices using the proper cabling. So as you can see, I have already set all the network in this scenario. For the sake of the time for the video, I will only explain the steps used to configure all the devices here in this network. I won't do any configuration. All the lab is already set. So I will show you how this configuration and how these commands are set on each individual device. So as you can see, all the cables have been already set. These are normal or stay-through cables, and this special one is a fiber optic cable, just because of the type of interface I'm using here in this NIC for this router. So as you can see, I'm using this type of NIC using for the fiber optic and the SPF model for the fiber optic connector. So routers, for the next task, routers and switches in the network should have been a specific name. As you can see, I have already set a name for each device or each network device using a standard using commonly enterprises, using, for example, a prefix of the continent like LATAM or North America, Europe, as you can see, Europe, and the country and the location. For this example, I'm using LATAM Mexico and Coyoacán switch 1, LATAM Mexico and Coyoacán router 1, and Europe UK router 1, Europe UK switch 2, Europe Cambridge switch 1, Cambridge switch 2, Cambridge switch 3, London switch 3, and London switch 2. Also, these names are already configured in the CLI. As you can see, the name is already set. So in each device, the name is already configured. For example, I will open the London switch 2. As you can see, the name is already set. For our so to configure the name, the only thing you need to do is go to global configuration mode. I have already set the password. I will show you how to do it. And in conft host name, and you set, for example, LA Mex COY and router 1. So that's the host name for this device. So for our next step, enable password should be configured. So as I have already said, all the configurations have already been done. So I will show you how this command was applied. So show run. Let's go to the I think it's on the start. Okay, the enable password, just in global configuration mode, conft enable password, and the password I have already set is team04. As you can see, I hit enter, and the password is already applied for the enable. So when I exit and then exit once again, enable, I've been prompted to set the password correctly, so team04, and the password enable me to the global access mode. So for our next step, I'm use the IPv4 addressing as shown. As you can see, I have already set network segments in each zone for a specific device. In this case, for the routers, I think I use for this device I have already set the as you can see, the proper IP address I'm using for gigabit, and let me see, where am I? For the 172, I'm using the .1. So 172.16.1.1, I'm using the first available address for this network, and I'm using the second address, the 172.16.2.2. For this is using the 1. This is using let me see. For this network, I'm using. Okay, I can show it, but let's go to enable team04 and show IP interface brief, and I'm using, let me see, for VLAN 1, and this VLAN I will talk about it later. For the use for this VLAN is for management, but as you can see, I'm using two VLANs here, one for the mail that is using the VLAN 40, one for this HTTP or the web server that is using the VLAN 15. So for the VLAN 40, I'm using for this specific switch, I'm using the 172.16.3.2. For the VLAN 50, I'm using 172.16.4.2, and the management VLAN. I'm using the VLAN 1, that is the native VLAN, but I'm gonna talk about it later. So let's go fast with this. Also with the London switch, I'm using enable team04 show IP interface brief. As you can come on. Okay, once again. As you can see, I'm also using VLAN 1 and VLAN 4e with the 172.16.3.3, that is the segment for this network. And this as also is using the, let me see, enable team04, okay, come on. Okay, now I got it. Show IP interface brief, and I'm using the 172.16.4.3 for this VLAN. So all the end devices, the servers, the two servers, the two PCs, and this PC are using the .10 from each respective network. For example, the 172.16.1.10, as you can see. Let me show you, and as you can see, no, that is not correct. This is the one. 172.16.1.10, that's for the PC. For the server, I'm also using a similar IP address. As I was saying, every end device is using the .10. For example, the 172.16.4.10 also, and also the 5.10, the 6.10, and the 3.10. So the next step is configure the routers with the following task. The hostname, as you can see, the hostname is already configured. Enable password is already set in every of the devices. And configure line BTY, that's for enabling telnet connections. So let me show you how this was configured. So show run, let's go to this line. So this is configured like this, conft and conf, it's line BTY 0 to 15, and I'm now in the configure line, and let's set the password Cisco, and I will hit enter and then login. So I will not set this password once again. So when I set the password for Cisco and the login, every time I try to use a telnet connection or a remote connection, let me show you. For example, I will try to do a remote connection telnet. Let me do this a little bit smaller. So let's change it to telnet, and let's go to the 172.16.1.1 and I hit connect. As you can see, I'm set to send to a password or to a telnet connectivity. So the password in here, it will be Cisco, and I'm already in the LA Mexico router 1. So let's go to enable, and the password will be team04. And I can show you every command of the router. That will apply to each of the devices here in the network, this switch, both routers, and all these switches. Let me show you that I can access to every other device. As you can see, I have already achieved connectivity between all the LANs and all the networks, so I can get connectivity to every other device. So let's try, for example, I think it was this IP, it was the 172. Well, in here I'm using the VLAN 1 to enable the management connections, or the management VLAN for this device. So let's try to access with this VLAN 192.178.2.2, and let's see if it works. So can I access to the 192.178. I forgot what was the IP, .2.2. So .2.2. Let's first try a ping. So let's see if it works before I try to achieve any remote connection. So let's go to the command prompt. Can I ping to the 192.178.2.2? And I think the first one will be lost because of ARP, or the second one, but I will have connectivity. Let's wait a little bit longer. Okay, as you can see, I have already set these routing configurations between all these networks, and I have connectivity to the device, so I will have no problem using a remote connection to that client. So let's see, 192.178.2.2, and I hit connect, and as you can see, I have already opened a telnet session to this switch. So the password is Cisco, and as you can see, from this computer I have access to this switch. So enable and team 04, and can I ping to the 172.16. I think it was 1, let me see, 1.10, and I have sent a ping from this side to this side. So that is already achieved, as you can see. So let me show you once more. Hold on here. The next step, it was switches should be management. Well, first of all, assign an interface to function as the default gateway to all on PCs and server. I'm using this interface for the default gateway, as you can see. Let me show you. I have the 172.16.1.1 for this device. And for this device, well, here is where the things get a little bit tricky. For this, as I'm using router and stick, I have to use a proper, let me show you, enable team 04, show IP interface brief. I have to use the proper default gateway because I'm using router on a stick. So, as you can see, I have set as sub interfaces in the gigabit Ethernet 0/1. I'm using the .1, .10, .20. That will be dependent on the router and stick configuration. So for this VLAN, I'm using the 172.16.3. 172.16, it's here. It's for the gigabit Ethernet 0/0.40. This is the IP address I'm using for the default gateway of this server, the 172.16.3.1. For this server, I'm using the 172.16.4.1. And for this side, I'm using the gigabit Ethernet 0/1. The VLAN, each VLAN for the corresponding PC. For this case, I'm using the 172.16.5.1, and for this case, for this PC, I'm using the 172. So as I was saying before, I'm using router on a stick in every interface for the router. As you can see, I'm using, and this will be with the conft, and conft, and it will be the gigabit 0, for example, to set the IP interface for this VLAN. Will be the interface giga 0/0.40, and I'm prompt to a sub-interface mode configuration where I can set the encapsulation using the corresponding VLAN. It don't necessarily have to match, but it's important for the sake of to don't get lost. The encapsulation, it will only remain for the VLAN tag, so that's the one that you should be have to take care about. Encapsulation.140, and if I hit enter, now I have to set the IP interface. So as you can see, I have done that with every interface for this router. For the gigabit 0/0, I have set a sub interface in the VLAN 1. This is the native VLAN. For the VLAN 40, using this, I'm using the .140.1q for the VLAN 40 with the IP address 172.16.3.1 with mask 24. Also for the VLAN 50. And for this interface, I'm using the same router on a stick configurations, but with a different IP segment. So that's all for the router on a stick. Let's go to the next step, that is configure RIP version 2 to enable connectivity between all segments. So as you can see, I have already set the connectivity between all network segments. Just let me show IP route. And as you can see, I'm learning via, where I can see it, via RIP, that is the R. I'm learning the 172.16.3.0, and that is this network, the 4, the 5, and the 6, and I'm also learning the one. Okay, I need to be learning one more. Let me find it. I think it's 16. This one, these two, the management VLANs, 192.168.2.0 and the 192.168.3.0. That is why I'm having access to that network from this PC. As you can see, let me show you. Show IP protocols. Okay, so I'm using from the routing protocol is RIP. The updates every 30 seconds, and the default version, rebel distribution. This is a very useful command, so you can see the routing networks. You can see this is important. Automatic summarization is not in effect. That is because in the show run, I set this specific amount for this configuration router RIP version 2. The networks I'm already, because this is a classful protocol, I can set it 172.16.1.1 and the 4, all the network. Well, these interfaces should be participating, right? But with the node to summary, if I send a ping to this specific network, as this is a classful and no auto summary is enabled, the packet will go through here and not will look every other network looking for the specific IP address. So that's the importance of this node to summary and the network for the management VLANs. So with that said, the same applies for this router show IP route. As you can see, I'm learning only this network through this interface. And where else? And this network also through this interface. So that's all for RIP. So managed switches should be on VLAN 1. As you can see, I can access through Telnet if I want to configure anything on these switches. I can access through the management VLAN. So that's set. Telnet to all devices should be enabled. All devices are set with the same configuration. The next step is configure the web server with the domain www.aclteam04.com. So let me show you how this is set. So services, you can see HTTP and HTTPS is already enabled. The DNS is set with the aclteam.04.com and the IP address is the same for this server. So you can see I'm using the 172.16.4.10. That is the one that I'm configured here. So let's go to the next step. Configure the mail server for 3 users and configure the following scenarios. Okay, hold on with the scenarios. Let me show you first the mail server configuration. For the email, I'm using SMTP service and POP3 service using the domain name for cisco.com. The users are Steve Vai. This is the password. Paul Gilbert. This is the password. As you can see, these are very great guitar players that I'm using for this example. Key Colorado, Guitar Dot, and the corresponding password. This one don't take care. I use it before when I was mounting the lab, but I have an issue with that specific hostname or username because I don't know. So let me show you the scenarios. Configuring all the network, propose VLANs, and use the router and stick connectivity between all of them. As you can see, I have already set router on a stick in all the network. Well, on all the routers for all the networks to get connectivity between each other. For the scenario number 2, configure an ACL to deny the use of web server to PC VLAN 20 and allow every other user to get access. So the VLAN in the VLAN 20 and the PC using that VLAN is this specific one, but as these are specific requirements, I can't use a standard ACL because I will deny all other type of traffic. Let me show you what I'm referring to. If I've said it is saying that I have not to be able to have connectivity to the web server via HTTPS and only for this PC, but I can have connectivity through ping. So let me show you 172.16.4.10, and let me show you if I set it right. The first one will drop out because of ARP, but I will have reply from the second and the third and the fourth one. As you can see, I have access through ping through to this web server from this PC right here, but that's not the case from the HTTPS. So let me show you. So if I go to www.aclteam04.com, I will get denied and request timeout. As you can see, request timeout. But okay, let me go to this. Let me try if I can access through the, and as you can see, I have access through this computer, and I will also have access through this computer to this server. That is the ACL acting in this router. So let me show you how I show IP access list. So this is where I use the extended IP access list number 100 deny TCP host 172.16.6.10, that is this IP, to the host 172.16.4.10, that is this address, equal to the www, that is the port 80, I think. Also I set deny TCP host the same 172.4.10 equal to 4.4.3, that is the port for HTTPS. And don't remember that we have an implicit deny in all the access list configuration, so let's not forget to allow traffic, to permit IP any for every other type of traffic. And that's for this access list. And for the final scenario is configure an ACL to deny the use of mail server to the PC on VLAN 30, that is this PC, and allow every other users to have access. So let me show you that I can send mails. So email, I hope. Okay, so compose. Let's try to kiko.laredo@cisco.com, and let's amen party time, and let's go party tonight. If I set this name correctly, I should be able to send that mail tonight from Paul Gilbert to Kiko Laredo. So it's sent, and I can see if I send it correctly. Okay, so okay, send success. So let me go to Kiko Laredo PC and email party time. As you can see, hey, let's party tonight. The mail was received successfully, but that's not the same story because of an ACL that I have already set for this PC. So let's try to send the same type of mail to the same type of guy. So let's go fast with this one to kiko.laredo@cisco.com. The same subject, party time. Hey man, go with me and not with Paul. Send. It will take a little bit longer, but as you can see, I'm prompt with this window connection timeout. That is because it is enabled and it's denied all the type of traffic from this PC to the mail server. And I will show you the access list. As you can see, I have set another rule for acting as a firewall rule on the extended IP access list on the 110. And this is deny TCP from the 172.16.1.0, that is all this network with the wildcard mask of 0.0.255 to the host 172.16.3.10, that is this specific server, EQ to SMTP, and permit IP any. Don't forget that we have also the implicit deny also. I have to permit traffic, but I can also, I hope the time allows me to show this one, I can ping to 172.16.3.3.10, and I can ping to this web server, where I can use that specific service of SMTP. So just for the last scenario is, let me show you, configure the functionality of port security on the PC of VLAN 10 and verify the command. So this is the PC on VLAN 10, and let me show you, enable team 04, show port security. I have already, this is blank, this port is already counting with 1. So let me show you if I'm using the port security, so I will not show the show run command first. Show port security on the interface fast 0/1, and I have already learned, as you can see, port security is enabled, port status is secure up. If a violation occurs, it will shut down, and maximum MAC address that will be able to learn are 1. But I have one question here that I'm using for this example. Enable port security on fast Ethernet 0/1 and automatically add the MAC address to the running configuration. What happens when the second